This is Deb Helfrich, hashtag Redhead She-Hulk, and I'm highity high. It's really important to capture this on video. I just Big Lebowski'd my whole life together, my whole midlife metamorphosis, emerging as a performer, a stand-up philosopher. So I was reminiscing to myself about that time when I had breakfast, and I was talking to Said. He said, as you do, don't you? Have conversations like full on stage, dancing around your kitchen conversations with Cedric the Entertainer for breakfast? You don't do that. That's why you want to listen to me about cannabis. Now, why that was happening, what, and then there was a lot going on, but he said eventually, like, he got to me. He said, girl, shit, nobody going to see the brilliance of your Twitter stream. This Twitter strategy you got. Tweeting a movie into being by meet-cuting with Lamar Rucker, 25 years out of college, on a tweet. This was the plot of the movie, Londolozy. Then I made it happen in real life. Today, June 1st, 2021, I just put out a really creative, next-level pitch for artisanal capital from my mentor, PCB. It's sorted. I don't know when, but it's sorted. What I asked for will come true. What I asked for just right now, in a YouTube live stream, in a LinkedIn post, did another follow-on YouTube live just to celebrate that Bob Marley came on the Barnes & Noble overhead. Bob Marley streaming down from the overhead speakers. Every little thing is gonna be all right. So, the reason I was thinking about how I did the video, because then I went on the video back then, early pandemic, March or early April, late March, early April 2020. Talk about having my breakfast conversation with Seti said, because I'm trying to become a stand-up philosopher and I am apprenticing to the very, very best to become known as the next Dave Chappelle. I gotta learn to look more at the camera, I feel, with all my nervous system. But y'all, I'm just talking to myself. Not particularly interesting to look at yourself. I also do have a nervous system derangement. Or dysfunction derangement. Three big things happened to my brain from the toxic mold exposure. Heightened memory. Elder savant. Savant syndrome is about increased memory, so I'm sort of rain womaning right here, right now. The truth. And I've lost the capacity to keep track of time. Well, I'm being so traumatized. Everyone's like, Deb, you got to be brief. The YouTube had a shorts now. Brief, stip. I have a brand new, valid, philosophical hypothesis of human energy, potential, and well-being. I can demolish racism this decade. Well, I can outline the philosophical hypothesis that will lead to all of us fixing our relationship to the distorted, inhumane, heinous legacy of the delusion of white superiority. You gotta get the terms right, you gotta get the understandings correct, and you gotta talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. And my date timestamps is out there, all on LinkedIn, all over YouTube videos, all over the Twitter. my dedication to anti-racism is fierce. So fierce that I kind of think like it's not that big a deal for me to go, DL, said he said, Steve, one of these things just doesn't belong, but can I please be? Can we get the originals back together and just throw in a little redheaded newcomer? Now that'd get the people watching. And here's the thing. Everything I've been doing, right, and the begging for money, people don't like the tone of the begging for money. Or it's just, I don't know, people tell you people don't like it. I'm doing just precisely what the Mac Man did to get his TV show. America! I am also the next Bernie Mac. It's not them kids. It's what we need to do to keep them kids from inheriting a dystopian future, from self-extincting this species. America! Get me some money so I can get a voice coach and get the Bernie Mac America down. Still, it's better than it used to be. Trust me. We got early attempts. So, you know the bit where I'm challenging Dave Chappelle. Hashtag Chappelle Challenge all over the YouTube. So holla, DC. Then I'm thinking, well, I could be the stand-in fourth to tribute to Bernie Mac. When my cannabis kicked in initially, it took 6 weeks from February 1st until sometime in the end of March, when I finally got my endocannabinoid system balanced enough that the 50 years of torture I lived through, having been morbidly obese since I was an infant, a lot of my early development didn't happen. So what it felt like happened first was that somehow my leptin and ghrelin, my hormones of hunger and satiety, that my whole life had been driven to eat. I mean, really driven. Right around my 50th birthday. It's like, I'm in control of the eating. I got this. And I can continue eating almost precisely the same if I use my thinking equipment and realize what you eat is 1/3. It's the pyramid, the project management pyramid. On time, on budget, fully featured. Well, it's what you eat, but also when you eat and how much you eat. And those two, using feast and famine strategies, evaporated 150 pounds in 15 months after turning 50. And then true to every midlife metamorphosis, because what caused the morbid obesity in an infant was chronic neglect. Now, this is from my entire community of origin, and we have nothing to do with the parental units. Truthfully, they did the very, very best they could, and I had a very safe and secure childhood. Nothing to complain about, which is why I couldn't understand why I was so miserable in my life, why it was just quiet desperation. Just, the problem was, I had an extraordinary mind. And I never had any recognition for it, because it's a different kind of mind. It's a different world than the one you come from. It's just the references to the black humans that I love and respect, they just filter in. It's an actual, I'm not joking, one-woman show, Netflix streaming deal. 90 minutes. I got that. So again, Big Lebowski, and I mentioned my Bernie Mac thing. Love, respect, want to do a tribute for. We were telling the story about right when I turned 50. I can't smoke. I never inhaled. Edibles didn't do anything. But I kept seeing all the data on how many things cannabis solves. So from February 1st 2019, my 50th birthday, I took a little sliver of coconut oil infused with cannabis. And as I said, I just slept most of February. Slept the first, 2/3 of March. Hibernation goes right along with cannabis. Y'all not sleeping enough. Your health is decimated because you're not sleeping enough. Which is why my health is plummeting, having been homeless and mobile homing for 6 weeks. But what started all this was realizing it might have been sort of there, but I hadn't said this. I keep saying the denouement is my debut at the Better with Paul retreat. But actually, what I'm working for, all of the weight loss, all of everything that's going to happen in the boot camps in the Caribbean and learning to exercise and things like that, because I want to have a photo shoot with Ron Foster. I just want to work with my friend, have fun with my friend. And then he and I will have production meetings to get the funding in for our work going back to Landalozzi, both the movie and his own photography work. Let's really make that project come to fruition. 2022, 2023. So here I am, again, 1 degree of separation. Somebody who's actually been at the place in South Africa that is the name of my movie, that is where I'm going to get to learn how to be a tracker. The Shangan trackers helped me, for the first time in my life, be with people who understand how my brain works and the smartness of my nervous system. I'm still pretty much optimized as a hunter and gatherer. The old soul. I never denied that I was ancestrally African. And my whole life, I resonated with humans with fully melanated skin. Great story. That's a great story. Great story. Soup to nuts. That is about the only thing you ever hear me say that is some kind of standard phrase. And what that means to me, if I have to resort, I have to resolve, I have to retort. Okay, playing with all those words, that was Eddie Izzard 101. I mean, he'd have done it a little bit better than I did. But no, again, this toxic mold exposure, part of all of the childhood eating things, I really got too small of a lower jaw. So we'll be doing some exercises to try and move this out so that I don't trip over my own words so much. Flub, a perfect performance. Deb's like, well, let me explain to you why. Because I had to explain it to myself. I don't care really if you don't get how profound it was. But I see my flubbing as a chance to talk about what I've learned about the power of evolutionary logic and being in constant dialogue with your subconscious. In my world, we wait for the truck, the PA. I'm gonna have to fire that PA. And didn't get the traffic coordination right. I'm gonna never fire a PA. And I'm gonna pay PAs a living wage. America! Got to pay everybody a living wage for them kids! Them kids. They only drive you crazy when you playing by the rules of this fucked up failed civilization. When you're playing with the kids, they don't drive you crazy. In fact, the kids will make you as uncrazy. It's a crash course on uncraziness, which is what this is. It's precisely what this video is, a crash course on uncraziness. We live in a society with a lot of flawed paradigms. Number one, listen to your kids a lot more. When they have a meltdown, something in the environment caused that meltdown, and it's your job to fix it. And it's also your job to learn how to do this. Record yourself having conversations about making your own best life, your own best future. Playing with the people you already know, imagining people you might need to meet, creating scenarios and projects and work for you to play with the people on this planet that you really find fascinating. The little thing we call life, it's a game. And we've got all the equipment we need, but we built a civilization, the old heinous white men built a civilization that's flawed and separate and prejudiced and judgmental and set up so that only just a few can win. There's abundance on this planet. There's abundance in our minds. Let's set up the civilizational framework to let love rule. Oh yeah, we got to bring in Lenny Kravitz's mama said. This whole thing started because Lenny Kravitz's mama said. And then Roxy Roker primed me for when fame, NBC fame, Debbie Allen and Gene Anthony Ray entered my life. Well, I might have been stuck in the Ohio of the Tiki Torch wives of me in DC. I went to high school in my heart, mind, and soul, a place with racial harmony where creativity was all you did. Occasionally you had to fuss with Miss Sherwood. But you didn't have to take no math. Anyway, philosophy's smarter than math. Math is a tool. Science is in the middle. Math is the left brain. Reproducibility, measurement. Does everyone agree? But that doesn't solve anything in the real world. What you need is right brain philosophy to tell a good story about what the math reproduces that the science has discovered. You need a really great story. That's what #RedheadedSheHulk is all about.